Imagine this. You're on a plane, ready to reach your destination. Everything seems normal, peaceful even. But suddenly, chaos erupts. Fear takes over. The cabin that was once filled with the quiet hum of air travel is now gripped with terror. This wasn't a scene from a movie. It was real life. The terrifying ordeal faced by passengers on Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961. On November 23, 1996, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961, a Boeing 767, took off from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Its ultimate destination was Abidjan, Ivory Coast, with multiple stops along the way. The plane carried 175 people from different walks of life. Businessmen, tourists, and families, none of them knew that their lives were about to change forever. What was supposed to be a routine flight would soon become a desperate fight for survival. But what went so horribly wrong? As the plane departed from Nairobi, Kenya, after its first stop, the unimaginable happened. 3 young Ethiopian men stormed the cockpit, armed with a fire extinguisher and an axe. They had a simple yet impossible demand: fly them to Australia. The hijackers, seeking asylum, were desperate, and that desperation quickly turned into violence. They threatened the lives of everyone on board. In that moment, the plane's fate rested in the hands of one man, Captain Lul Abate, a veteran pilot with over 11,000 flight hours. Abate was no stranger to pressure, but this was different. Abate had faced 2 hijackings before, but this one was a nightmare. The hijackers were determined to reach Australia, but Captain Abate knew it wasn't possible. There simply wasn't enough fuel. Despite the chaos and the hijackers' demands, Abate remained calm. He tried reasoning with them, explaining that there wasn't enough fuel to make it, but the hijackers refused to believe him. They thought they had 11 hours of fuel, when, in reality, they had only 3.5. As the plane soared over the Indian Ocean, time was running out, and so was the fuel. With every passing minute, the situation grew more dangerous. Captain Abate's attempts to land at a nearby airport were blocked. The hijackers didn't want to hear it. Their desperation clouded their judgment, leaving the passengers and crew in an even more precarious position. The plane's fuel continued to drain, and soon it was running on fumes. Then, the moment everyone feared came to pass. The first engine sputtered and died, leaving the aircraft with only one engine. Captain Abate, against all odds, managed to keep the plane in the air. But as the second engine failed, the Boeing 767 became a powerless glider, descending steadily toward the sea. Abate's only option was to attempt a water landing, a maneuver so dangerous that only the most skilled pilots could pull it off. With the Comoros Islands in sight, Abate desperately aimed the aircraft toward the calm waters, trying to land parallel to the waves. But the hijackers, still intent on controlling the plane, made it impossible for Abate to steer properly. As the plane descended, passengers were told to brace for impact, but panic had already set in. Some passengers, in their confusion, inflated their life jackets inside the cabin, a fatal mistake that would cost many their lives. The plane crashed into the Indian Ocean. The impact was devastating. The aircraft broke apart almost instantly, and water began flooding the cabin. Many passengers were thrown from their seats, others trapped by the rising water. Tragically, only 50 of the 175 people on board survived. The rest were either killed on impact or drowned as the plane sank. Among the survivors was Captain Lul Abate, whose extraordinary skill in the face of unimaginable pressure saved many lives. Local fishermen and scuba divers rushed to the scene, pulling survivors from the wreckage, but for many, help came too late. The hijackers, along with the majority of passengers, perished in the crash. The dream of reaching Australia had ended in one of the deadliest hijackings in history. But this tragic event did not go unnoticed. The crash of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 sent shockwaves through the aviation industry. It exposed serious vulnerabilities in security, especially the ease with which hijackers could gain access to the cockpit. In the years that followed, airports around the world strengthened security measures, reinforcing cockpit doors and improving passenger screening to prevent similar tragedies. These changes became even more critical after the attacks of 9/11, when aviation security was overhauled on a global scale. Captain Loyola Bates' bravery that day became a symbol of hope in the aftermath of disaster. He had fought against impossible odds to keep the passengers safe, even when the situation seemed hopeless. His actions in those final moments saved lives and left a lasting impact on the world of aviation. The legacy of Flight 961 lives on. It's a story of tragedy, but also of resilience. The loss of 125 lives is a stark reminder of the dangers faced in the skies, the human cost of extremism, and the unimaginable bravery of those who fight to keep us safe. Let this story stand as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, the power of courage, and the need for constant improvement in aviation safety. And most importantly, let us never forget the lives lost and the lessons learned from Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961. If you found this video compelling, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more incredible stories. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more amazing content.